Hello fellow Hunters of Blue, welcome to another P.A.B. session, and first of all, one very quick announcement. We have a new family member and I doubt he will stay here for very long. He's a very young and very dashing little guy. His name is Weasley, so welcome Weasley to the family, and I hope I can, and you may see him again at some point in some intro or something, and I think he wants to get down now. So, super cute cat, and I think he wants to go. I will be back in a minute. So back now into the main P.A.B. I hope you really like my new cat. One thing that is not as pleasant as that beautiful cat I just showed you. It's regarding the Croc miniature that you may have seen me build and start painting during the live streams. Sadly, I won't be painting him anymore. I had one of the worst painting experiences of my life, and I decided, and it wasn't an easy decision, that I just didn't want to be unhappy because this is a hobby for me, and when a hobby starts to be it stops being fun, it stops being a hobby. So sorry for everyone that wants to see me paint him. I really, I just couldn't. After the painting live stream, which wasn't pleasant, I just said, well, let's try painting without the camera. So it's always easier. So I stayed a couple hours after that to see if I get my mojo back, but it was really unpleasant. I wasn't enjoying it. So it's in the box right now. I might strip him at some point and start again when I feel like it, but I highly doubt it. And it's a shame because it's very expensive, and I really wanted to paint him, but I just found out that that isn't for me. So sorry if you want to see me paint him, but that's not going to happen. At least not in the near to mid future. I just don't feel like it. It was so bad that after that painting session, again, mostly off camera, I couldn't pick a brush for 3 days. It was that. I just couldn't. It just broke me. So no, sorry again, but it's not going to happen. Someone always say it's because it's too big. Yeah, it's because it's too big. It's just too big for me. It's a pain to handle. It has too many bits around him. If I repaint him, I'm thinking even taking out all of his rings that just surround him and just paint him like a regular slant, more like less bulky. So that may happen. I just want to rethink the whole concept behind him because I wasn't happy with it. But I might just take out all of the crap, all of the rings, and just paint him as a more classic slant profile. So yeah, that will probably happen. But again, don't expect it because it's just not going to happen. So sadly, I won't take down all those videos because I don't believe in that. But just know that it just won't happen. I will add this video into the playlist so people know what happened. But if they are following it, but sorry, it's not going to happen. I just decided that my happiness was over everything else, so yeah. I'm sure you all will understand. And another announcement, next week's video is a very unexpected one because it was something that one Patreon member suggested, and I thought it was a fantastic idea. I've never done it, so I was very excited about doing it, and it's Marvel bases. So all of you that go and follow my community tab on the channel will have seen it. All my patrons that are on the Discord server would have seen it, but most of you probably haven't. So this is coming next week. Super proud of it. first time painting marble. I decided to go for a pink marble just because that picture suggested pink. And once and when I was in and when I oh sorry and when I was doing the research behind just to see different techniques and so on, I haven't seen anyone doing pink marble. It's just mostly white and some green. So I think it's a good addition into the hobby painting community. So I really hope you like it. This is coming on Friday. It's already a film. I just have to film the intro once I finish this live stream, probably, because I have the appropriate clothes, and the camera is all set up for the live stream, which is the same setup for the intro. So I will probably just record the intro after I'm done with this. So I'm very excited about that, and I will edit it probably tomorrow. It's a super simple videos to edit, so it will be on Friday. If nothing really bad happens, which I highly doubt it. So with all of that out of the way, again, welcome to the P.A.B. What is the P.A.B? If you are new here, P.A.B is a session where you can ask questions and I will try to answer them. Questions about whatever thing you want. It can be about a painting, it can be about me, it can be about the channel, about projects, whatever you want. I will try to answer them to the best of my abilities. So you can just ask questions in the chat, and I will try to go through them as quickly as possible. I'm usually here about an hour and a half, so expect that. And let's start with the chat, see who is here. Yeah, a lot of familiar names. Hello to everyone. Oh, just take that down. It doesn't take the whole of the screen. Apart from the marble bases, I will be painting. I have two heavy contrast projects. One is a Chaos Warrior, which you have seen in the ending of my videos if you stay to watch that. And the other one is this jumpy little vampire here, which I'm really excited to paint. It will be next of the heavy contrast Curse City, which I plan on doing. I'm not going to stop making those videos. I really enjoy making them. I love the minis. So I'm just going to paint them. I already have the game, so why not? Yeah, let's go through the chat. I didn't want to paint 75mm mini as a marble statue. Well, this will be a very good chance to see the basic technique behind marble bases. I'm using again pink colors, but you will be very easily being able to adapt all those techniques. Just choose the different colors. I mean, if you choose grays instead of those pinks, you will probably get to really nice white marble base or gray marble. If you choose greens to start with, but the same kind of technique of building up, like subtle layers and depth, you will also get to a very nice green marble, I would like to think. But I'm just doing like pink marble because I thought it was really cool, and there's no videos about it, so why not? Walter, thanks for your heavy metal tutorials and learning so much from you. Keep going. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. It's one of those series that I started it, and I've talked about this a couple of times. I think maybe through in the Discord for the Patreons, but I started because I saw when contrast paints came out. The most common comment was, don't use them, they don't go well with the Space Marines, don't use them on Space Marines, they are crap for Space Marines, and so on and so on. And I thought, those people they're just flat out wrong. I mean, I know they can work perfectly doing on Space Marines. So I just bought the basic intercessors, the easy to build intercessors. And I just painted 3 backpacks, one yellow, one white and one red, using contrast paints and with highlights, of course. And I posted them on Facebook and Reddit and on Instagram, also on all social media basically. And the response was so good, I just decided just go with it. And um, how much time has been? Year and a half later, here we are. So really happy with that series. Has brought me really immense joy and really fun a really fun learning experience. So yeah. Keegan says Pink is a great choice. I agree. I looked into Pink Marble before, but there isn't a ton of it. It's also a great video choice. Yeah, there is a ton of white, a ton of green, but almost no pink. At least not in miniature form. I've seen a lot in like recreating full marble for tables or for tabletops or for kitchens, so that sort of thing. There's a lot of it, but for miniatures, there's almost none present. So I thought it was a good idea. And again, there was the suggestion by the Patreon, so that was like the perfect match. So I'm really happy. Hello to everyone. I just Wolf, I understand you dislike making larger models, but are there any particular large GW sculpt that you really like, even if you would never attempt to paint it yourself? I like Rogue. I really like that sculpt. I think it's beautiful. I really like all the new Soulblight stuff. It's just fantastic, and I really like all the Elder stuff, all the vehicles and the Spectral Knights and whatever. I really like them, but I would never paint them. It's such the only large model that I've painted in the past like couple of years has been my Dead Zone Asterion Spectra, and it was a blast. But I just loved Dead Zone so much that I'm not being objective. So I'm even going to paint a second one very soon. Once I get a bit of time for myself, it will probably be the first model that I paint. But again, it's just out of pure love. I mean, Dead Zone is just has such a big place on my heart that I just don't look at it as in the same light that any other thing. But yeah, I really love all of GW large models. I'm loving. I actually did paint a couple of large models, which were two of the large undead flying dragony things. One with Neferata and one with Arkham. I think they are called. I call them Lord and Lady Wobbly from Wobbleshire, and they are my two dragons from my Kings of War Undead army. And they were a pain in the ass, but they weren't as bad as Croak, believe it or not. I mean, it's just, I don't know what's with the Croak sculpt. All these inlay like sculpted panels on his chair, such an horrible thing to paint, and it's all surrounded by those rings which make everything so difficult to do. It's just a pain in the ass. And I also wanted to paint him really well, not like the undead models are painted more in a quick way. I'm still proud of them. They have some very good details, but most of it is just one layer of contrast or wash, and then just one highlight. So it's super basic stuff for me. Even if they have like purple NMM to kind of make them a bit shinier, but you know, it's not like the Mortarch. Yes, the Tyrannosaur it's always knowing all the good stuff. Diego is asking, my paint dries quickly in summer, even wet palette. Anything you can do? No, there's nothing you can do. That's the problems with wet palettes. They will behave differently depending on your climate, on your temperature, on your humidity. It will just behave. The only thing you can do is just keep I have this bottle of water, which I just add to the foam of the wet palette when I feel it's a bit too dry. It's the only thing you can do. But a wet palette is not like a miracle. If you have a very dry environment or a very hot environment, paints will dry on top of it. No matter what you do, it will last way longer than on a dry palette, but they will eventually dry. So yeah, there's nothing really you can do. It's just keep adding water into the sponge and just work with what you have, basically. Tyrannosaur, I would rather die than have a kitchen with pink marble. Well, you are not a mafia boss, so it's kind of understandable. The Siege Tower, the contrast paint makes it easy because they get to go, we mini painters, made our own contrast using inks. That's really true. Contrast saves time and works in the same way once you learn how to use it, like War Master. Yeah, I've been painting with inks and washes over white and light primers for years. This is nothing new. It's just a super convenient way of doing it. It's much more controllable than any inks because the medium is thicker, very easy to use, it's very forgiving. And again, it's not super runny, so it helps a lot. It's a fantastic way. It's a fantastic new revision of a very old technique we've been using for a very long time. In fact, I have a couple of units on my Lizardman army that are painted basically like that. It's just white primer, a couple of washes, a couple of highlights, move on. And it works very, very well. So, yeah. Adrian cares, what can I do to keep my white from coming out chalky? I would recommend you watch Vince Venturella video on painting white. He will give a lot of good points. But a couple of them that work really well for me is thinning your white using white ink. That will help maintaining opacity while making it flow better. You can use gloss varnish as a mix in with your paint. That will also keep them from coming out chalky. But the best advice I can give you is very thin layers. Have patience and don't try to rush it. That's basically it. White is a pain in the ass. I always say this. I really like painting white, but the truth is, well, there's a couple of things. You should only use white for the final highlight. So that's point number one. And point number two should be that you need to understand that white pigment is just what it is. There's only one white pigment that we use for acrylic paints, which is titanium dioxide, and it's a pain in the ass. So you kind of have to learn how to deal with it. But yeah, try white ink. White ink flows better, doesn't come out chalky as easily as white acrylic paint. It will do if you go like mad with it, but white ink has helped me a lot. This is mine. I know exactly where it is in my row of paints. This is Daleroni. It doesn't come in this bottle, just so you know. This is not the right bottle, but this is the correct sticker. So this is the Daler. I just put it into a plastic bottle because I had agitators. And agitators inside a glass, metal agitators inside a glass container. I wasn't like really happy with it. And this has a lot, this separates a lot, leaves a lot of deposit in the bottom that you need to mix really well. So it really needs agitators. There you go. Oliver Girardot. I am working on a big mini currently, and although I know which colors I want to use, in some places there are other. I'm not sure. How do you choose matching colors when improvising a color scheme? Well, basically, I choose the colors before I get to paint anything. When I'm painting an army, I start with the basic units. That's what you should start with. And once you paint the basic units, you will have the basic colors you are going to use. And you should add them in every single unit of your army, in some way or another, to add cohesion. So, for example, on my Lizardman army, all the skinks are painted the same way, and all the feathers that they have are painted the same way. All the stone is painted the same way, and all the gold is painted in the same way. It's like the basics. Then each and every single dinosaur, each and every single type of monster is painted in a very different way, completely different. But just having those feathers, those pieces of gold, those pieces of stone, made in the same way, makes everything go together very well. So I recommend to start with the basic troops and then modify that color scheme for your monsters. And then you can add a bit of different touches to your monsters, but you should start with the basics. I really hope that helped you, because it's not an easy question to answer without knowing what you're going for or what your army is. Yeah, Airbrush Flow Improver is great for painting. Well, yeah, it's the same kind of thing. Any medium that helps with flow will help you get a better result. I think the only way I can use Flow and Gray within it with a medium is not a great experience for me. I personally love Flow and Gray, and people in the Discord know it very well. It's one of my favorite GW colors. It's such a beautiful off-white highlight color, but I know others don't. Again, I thin my paint a lot, so I've never had that chalky issues because I thin my paints very well. But look at that paint collection back there. Yeah, I have back there is a full GW paint range, which is here, and the contrast paints are on the back. We have Vallejo on the front, inks here, everything there is inks. And then in the back container there are Chimera, the metallic paints from Model Air, Scale 75, Ammo MiG, and I have and the Chimera paints is some Reaper paints and kind of random stuff that doesn't fit into the rest. But yeah. Mark Baker, I'm a huge fan of your videos. Thank you very much, Mark. I'm going to paint some Plague Bearers, and I want to use contrast base. What contrast would you use? Oh, that's very... I don't know, because I haven't gone around to paint them, but I will probably start with a spray of that God Green. I'll probably start with a base coat of Death God Green. And then I would probably use something like Plague Bearer Flesh over that, or maybe a mix of Plague Bearer and Militarum, or those kind of colors. But I will probably start with a darker base coat. I think that God Green is a very nice place to start. But again, I don't usually think about that until I've reached that point. But my mind will probably go through that path. So try it out. Also, you can just use my Death God army tutorial and just base coat them in this kind of yellowy, and just paint them like I painted the armor, basically, and adding tones of the green and the brown into different bits, so it adds a bit of variety. I think it will look really cool, so try that as well. No, I don't have a Plague Bearer video, Terence. I have a Death God video and a Poxwalker video, but I don't have a Plague Bearer video yet. Mark Baker, do you have a Discord? I have a Discord, but it's just for Patreon and channel members. So once you join my Patreon or the members in the YouTube, you will get a link to the Discord. I don't offer any exclusive videos for my patrons or channel members. Everything I do, it's free and open for everyone. So I have to give them something for their absolute and amazing generosity, which has helped me a lot through the quarantine and through all these hard times, and I really appreciate it. Sorry about that. My phone is almost dying, so I have to plug it in. There you go. Yes, I am live, Marcus. Welcome to the live stream. I do this once a month. So this is June live stream that as you have been able to judge by the thumbnail, is to celebrate Pride Month, which is in what we are, and I think it's very important. I almost forgot about this, but I'm not going to forget. So I just wanted to send a message, because I'm not the kind of person that does this. I'm just a kind of more laid back kind of guy. But this month I've seen so many problematic comments on Facebook. I know Facebook is just, and social media in general, it's just like a cesspool of the worst of humanity combined in one place, and it's kind of an echo chamber. But I've seen so many problematic comments, and so I just want to give a heads up to all my LGBT followers and people watching. Like, you are welcome here, and I love you all. And don't be afraid of who you are, and don't let anyone tell you who you should love or who you should be. Be yourself and be proud of who you are, because that's the point of this celebration. So, with that out of the way, we will resume. I want to do this at the beginning of the stream, but I almost forget. Okay. Can you recommend the Lord of all Decks? Can you recommend a carrying bag for when one wants to take the hobby on the go? Thinking a regular big toolbox, because I'm not too keen on the GW paint kit. But do you have any better suggestions? I don't really. I just do this hobby here. I don't take stuff anywhere. But when I do, I would probably just take one of my mini cases and just put my paints into a couple of compartments and so on. So yes, a toolbox is a fantastic idea. If they have like separate compartments for your brushes, be sure you have all the caps for your brushes. Very important. I have them all here just in case I need them. Very important to keep all the caps. And you should be golden, but try to keep your brushes separate from all the other tools and all the other paints. Just a small second, please. So, sorry for that. I had to blow my nose, and I don't think you want to hear that. So, back to Olivier. Another question. I'm seeing blue in that collection. Yes, there's a lot of blue in that collection. Joan, when's the next Lord Croak stream? As I answered, as I just told at the beginning of this video, it's not happening. So if you want to know the full explanation, go back to the beginning, but it's not going to happen. Sorry. I'm really, really, really sorry. Feel really bad about it, but it's not going to happen. Olivier, I know it's not an easy question. Sorry about that. My problem, though, is that I'm not really painting an army. I'm painting Morathi, and it's more like a display piece. Then, if you're painting a display piece, you should. What I do when I'm painting display pieces is I think about like the accent colors, like the main like focus colors, and then build around it with more muted tones. You don't want everything to be like super bright. So I think about the accents, and then the rest is usually muted. So try to think in that way. Muted colors well with everything. So grays, browns, those kind of muted purpley colors, those go with everything, and you shouldn't have any issues. If you, I think you are a patron or maybe I'm mistaken with another Olivier, but I think you are. If you are, send me a picture through the Discord, and I will solve your problems better than I can do here. And I will try to suggest a couple of colors that can work well. And if you aren't, I'm really sorry, but it's very hard to answer that question. But just think about your accent colors, and then build the rest using muted tones, which go well with everything. Rowan BTS, hello Juan, I hope you are having a good evening. Love the Curiosity skit, and I'm looking forward to the next Vasing video. Thank you very much, Rowan. Funny enough, the reason I make the Curiosity skit as a separate piece as well as part of the Vampire video is because I was so devastated by the Croak painting that I couldn't finish my Vampire video on time. So I just decided to put out that intro, which it was so funny to make and to edit, that I just released it as a separate piece. So that really helped me push the last painting on that vampire and finish the editing of the video for the next day. So that intro does have a real big place in my little heart, and I really like people liking it, because it's like it's probably one of the best performing videos I've done. So this is really fun. When I say carrying back, I mean for model assembly and painting. Got stuff on the finished models already. Yeah, then if you just want to carry tools, a toolbox is the right tool to use. I would just go to the to any hardware store and look for a light plastic toolbox, which has the right size compartments for your use, or better still, one has like modular compartments, so you can put your process into one, sculpting tools like glue and so on. And then you may want to take some extra foam that you have lying around. We all have a bit of foam here and there, and just pat it so, for example, the glue bottles don't go rattling around, which you don't want them to break, and so on. So that could be a good idea. And to pat your brushes down so they don't move too much. That could be a good solution. Yeah. Adrian cares. Do you use your jewelry's glasses or regular hobby magnifying glasses? Can you get close up to the mini? I use these cheap glasses that I bought on Amazon. I saw Trovarion using them. I looked for them on Amazon and bought the same. Just simple. I like them because, as he says, they are super minimalistic. It's just the minimum bulk in my head, and they work as well as any other magnifying glasses. They are from Amazon. So if you want to pick one, there is a link down that will take you to Amazon, to a random thing. I think it's a camera, I cannot remember now. And then just look for them and I will get something back. So I really appreciate if you use that link to search for them. I cannot tell you what the name is because I can't remember, but any magnifying glass from Amazon works well. I like, again, as small and as less bulky as possible. That's my preference. Meandering says social media can be a bit hard to bear sometimes. Yes, it can, and again, I know it's just because it's an echo chamber of the worst things, because that's how it works. But again, some things I just found super problematic, and I'm a very chill guy, and I don't usually get into those kind of things, but there's stuff that really bothers me. So from that time, I have to say something. So happy to see you. Happy to see you too. Thank you for joining the stream. Dimitri Supranov. Yes, the short question: how to paint blue? Very good question. Watch my how to paint Shovel Knight video. It's everything there. That's the best blue I've ever painted. So sad to hear that. Yeah, if you go to the beginning, you will hear the full explanation. But again, I'm really sorry, but that's not happening. What do you guys think about the new models in AOS Dominion? Is it worth to buy it if you only look for Stormcast Eternal Minis? I think it is worth buying for the Stormcast Eternal Minis. Even if you don't want to use the Cruel Boys, the price and the amount of minis you get for that price, just for the one half, is worth it. And then you can sell the other half on eBay or on any Facebook group, and you will get back part of your money, and you will be very happy. So if you can grab it, do it. I think GW has made more than enough, so it seems like they have learned their lesson, and I'm really happy for that, because it seems that everyone that wants one will be able to get one, so that's awesome. Oh, Terence, you know Meandering Shade, that's awesome. Oliver, yeah, I'm a patron on the Discord too. Of course, you will get some pictures and try things down. Thanks for the tips. Yeah, send me pictures. You can if you don't want to share the work in progress pictures on the main channel, just send me a private message and we can talk about those colors. Well, late to the party, guys. Hello, Chelsea. Welcome. Really looking forward for the review. Really looking forward for the review next. Talking about the review, it will probably be. Let's see, probably be in about a week's time. Seems like a good time for that. I'm having my my COVID shot, my COVID vaccine on Monday the 5th, so I think that could be a good time to make the review afterwards, or maybe on Sunday. I'm not sure, but it will be sometime next week. Charles Hamilton, I love the Ferrari red on the vampire. I'm looking forward to painting my own. Yeah, they're so beautiful minis. One of my favorite GW sculpts in a very long time. Chelsea, question: I want to try NMM. How can I be sure where my highlights go? The full explanation again is in the how to paint Shovel Knight video, so the blue NMM video. But you have to think your mini as having 4 sources of light. So one is here, one is there, and other 2 in the back. So like in each 45-degree angles. There's another very good explanation in Darren Latham's blog, where he goes full depth into that. But you also have to think how metal works. So metal is very reflective, and the more reflective a surface is, the smaller the highlights are. They're more concentrated and brighter they are. So don't paint them super broad. You have to paint a bit broader than what you want. I also explained that in the video. But because you will reduce them with the glazing. But you need to think that think about this. When you shine a light, for example, you go into your wall and shine a red light into it. The whole wall turns red because it's not reflective. But do the same into a mirror and the whole mirror doesn't turn red. You will just see the red light onto it. That's what I mean. The more reflective a surface is, the smaller the highlights will be on them. The smaller but brighter the impact of the light will be onto that object. So have that in mind. He's on my team. Yeah, Tyrannosaurus, yes, awesome. You have a fantastic team, by the way. It's just amazing. I just have myself and my cat now, which is great. Andrew Calvert, your favorite subject, blue. Any tips for contrast blue to go over color sky? Yeah, the main issue I have with blue and contrast paints is I find all the blue, like pure blue contrast paints, awful. Yes, they are all horrible. Ultramarine blue is one of the worst contrast paints. Leviathan blue is not really useful as a contrast paint. It's very useful for freehand panel shading and that kind of stuff. Freehand, but not as a contrast paint. Talazar blue is a bit better. It's the best of the blues, but it's so bright and like neon that it's not really useful for most of the blue applications you will probably want. So when I paint blue, I just do it the old-fashioned way. Start with Cantor blue. I really like Cantor blue. Or start with a mid-tone of a mix. Calidor Sky is a fantastic color to start with if you have a light primer. Please don't try to put Calidor Sky over a black primer because that paint covers like shit. But it's a fantastic color to highlight because it's very transparent, so it goes well as glazing, and it's a fantastic midpoint to start with. So I will just go down with something like Cantor blue and black, and then highlight using teals. I really prefer to mix teals to highlight blue than using just like flat blues. I'm looking for the review as well. It's my first time participating. That's awesome. I'm really looking forward to it. So we're looking at the final line highlight, or like white to get a highlight shine point. So you want, what I mean is, when you paint something, the broader you make the main highlight area, the less shinier it will look, counterintuitively. So the small, but you still want mid-tone. It's hard to explain, but if you look at how I paint a shovel knight, you will understand what I'm talking about. So that I don't go very far, and I still have, you still need places to put your shadows in those areas. So it's very hard to explain without showing you. So that's why I point out to that video. But yes, you want your final highlight, your white bright highlight should be just like super points, like super dots. It shouldn't be more than that. Just for the highest, brightest white highlights. Josh Hamilton, how have you found Zenithal priming for contrast? I'm going to try some shading someday. It's fantastic. Again, I don't go like super hard on it. I instead of doing black, I using mechanical standard gray from the bottom and gray sear from the top. So it's not like super contrasty, because I still want to be able to tint the shadows, and not just like, because over black most contrast paints just won't read. So I'm really happy with just using Mechanicus. But yeah, I really like it. Give it a try. Just think about that. If you want to use a lot of yellows, it won't work. If you want to use yellows, you will probably have to do a brown and Wraithbone as your main Zenithal. Don't go for grays and blacks, because it will turn your yellows green and it will look weird. Unless you want that kind of grim, darky aesthetic, which it will for sure get using grays and blacks. Super helpful, thank you. I watched the video. Fantastic. That's awesome. So if you have any more questions, I think we have oh yeah, more questions. Very weird question. Can you make a wash lighter, darker? So if you want to make a wash lighter, you're probably looking, the only option you have is diluting it more. So you have a wash, like something like Agrax Earthshade, and you want to make it lighter, you add Lamy medium or any other medium into it, and that will make it lighter when you apply it, because it will be more transparent. But if you are looking into something, but darkening it down, you need to mix other darker washes into it, or do more layers. That's another option. That will give you more color, but you cannot just make like a super concentrated Agrax Earthshade. There is no way of doing that without having the original dye that GW used on that. So if you have some kind of ink, so you find a matching ink that will match in color to your wash, then you can make it, just add a drop of that ink into the wash, and it will turn super dark immediately, and will probably retain the same properties. So that's awesome. And if you just mean like make it a different hue, there's no solution there other than to mix it with other stuff. Adrian Kurtz, what's your opinion on terrain? I wanted to look, but I'm not sure how far to take it. I'm not the guy to go for terrain. You probably want to ask that question to Tyrannosaur, to be honest. He is one of the best terrain builders I've seen. And he has a team that also does fantastic work on that. Hello, that's it. That's a question for Tyrannosaur, not for me. I'm not the guy to ask about terrain. I hate painting terrain. Again, large stuff, not for me. I remember painting my Dead Zone table, and I just did this. I went to the cheapest, crappiest Chinese $1 store, bought the most awful sprays. I really regret not going to a proper hardware store, but that I just was in a rush because I had to paint them for a tournament. So it is what it is. So I just went, took like a reddish brown color, took a yellow spray, sprayed everything with that reddish brown, sprayed from like an angle with the yellow, several layers so it get like a bright yellow, and then I mix a wash using shoe polish, a kind of shoe polish, if I remember correctly. And I just mixed the wash with that and applied everything, wiped the excess with the paper towels and racks, and made a horrible mess. But the terrain looked actually not that bad. And that's it. That's how far I take terrain. So I'm not the guy to ask. Yeah, I hate big models. I really do. It's just not for me. Other people do it. I just don't like it. Everyone, Chelsea, everyone rates ink so much, but I don't want to get any unless I don't even use them. I'm still very new, so how to incorporate new things seems daunting experience. That is a very good point, yes. Sometimes when you haven't used something, like dipping your toes into a new technique or into a new product, it's very daunting, and I really get it. What I would do, if you want to get into inks, go to an art store and get some proper acrylic inks, something like Daler-Rowney, something like Liquitex. It will give you that's like the best quality inks. If you want like high quality from the beginning, that will be a very good thing to get into it. Or if you don't want to spend much, because acrylic inks from the art store, they are big volume, but they are expensive. Get the Vallejo inks, all of them. The whole set is like 7 colors, not that much, and it's Vallejo, so it's not very expensive. And they are matte, they behave really well, and they're fantastic. Each and single one of them is fantastic. In fact, I wish I could use violet ink for my contrast videos, because it's fantastic alternative to contrast paints if you want a really bright, vivid purple, which is what contrast paints lacks. But in my own made-up rules, it's just using contrast paints and highlights, so I can't use it. But know that if you want a good contrast type finish and want a bright purple, the best way to do it is using Vallejo Violet ink. AK Interactive inks are also quite nice. Yeah, the only thing I don't recommend AK Interactive inks is because they are super glossy, which is like very classic ink. And the reason I like to recommend Vallejo inks is because they are matte when you apply them. So that's less scary to new painters. So yeah. So can you paint it like paint? Is the viscosity? It's just liquid. Think about a liquid with a ton of pigment into it, like ton of color into it, like super punchy punch of colors in a very liquidy sort of way. So think about a wash, but extremely intense in color, and then you will have an ink. So you need the way to use them. You can just use them as contrast paints, as I said before. They behave very very similarly. It's just harder to control. But another way to use them is to mix them into paints. If you want to thin them down but at the same time increase saturation, mixing inks to dilute paint is a fantastic idea. There is a lot of things you can do with inks, but I get this daunting. But again, if I were a new painter, I will 100% get the Vallejo set and work with them, and you will get very good results for very cheap, because they are quite cheap in Vallejo paints. Team Orange, hello team. Please share your list of tricks for better OSL effect. I have noticed several painters purposely lacking in lit areas, for example. Yes, when you want to make OSL, you have to first darken that area before applying the OSL. So the OSL, if you have light on your model, you have to have light from one side, then dark, then the OSL. You cannot put OSL over highlighted areas. You can, but you have to highlight the thinking that will be the OSL. So you need like a dark, like a shadow between your regular highlights and your OSL. Always, that will increase a lot the OSL effect. So that's the key to the OSL. And also, less is more, which is something that people don't understand sometimes. Yeah, contrast paint is also something that I haven't tried yet. Well, I think you should, but who am I to judge? Of course, I'm going to say it, but yeah, contrast paints and inks are very similar in the way in the finished product, but contrast paints are easier to apply over large surfaces and easier to control overall. So that's why I prefer them for like that kind of application over a white primer. Charles, sorry, which brand of inks did you mention? Vallejo. The only inks Vallejo have are from the game color range, so the game ink range. That's what I recommend as a set for everyone. Fantastic set of inks. Then I also have a Scale 75. I have a Daler-Rowney, and I have a Daler-Rowney FW, and I have Liquitex inks. So pick and choose. Inks are fantastic tool to have in your collection, but I know you already do it. Exoticismo, hey, how is it going? It's going well. I'm better now. I went through a really hard time just after the crocodile stream, but I am better now. I have been able to have a bit of a sleep this weekend, which is a nice touch, and I'm gonna and I have my vaccine in a week, which is also awesome. And yeah, everything seems fine. I'm still super stressed with my regular job. But what are you gonna do? I'm not popular enough to be able to live out of the channel, so I have to work like every other person. Yeah, Crow, very nice model, too big, very detailed. Don't blame the struggle. Yeah, it just wasn't pleasant. It's not just it being very detailed; it's very detailed, and with a lot of obstructions and not in a pleasant way to paint. Maybe I think I will have to refocus everything of how I've approached him, but I'm not in the mental state to do that, so that's not going to happen. I have two very fun models to paint. So this again, the Jumpy Vampire Boy and the Chaos Warrior, which I'm really looking forward to paint, and a couple of personal stuff that I hope I can tackle this summer. It will be awesome. Yeah, seems like we have been here for about an hour now. So if you have any more questions, this is the time to put them in the chat. And because I will be going through them, and if we don't have more questions in a while, I usually just end the stream, because that's what you do. So yeah, Toronto, can you tell these fine folks how you handle creative block? Well, that's a good question, because I just went through one. So first of all, my advice, if you're having a creative block, is just step away from what you're doing. It's not going to help you if you just sit down and try to push your way through it. It's better to step down, take any time you need, and go back fresh. Also, there's sometimes which you just don't feel like doing something, and what I do in those situations is, for example, I don't feel like painting, so I say, okay, I'm not going to paint, but I could maybe do this base coat. It's super simple, and just to save myself some time in the future. So I just sit down and do a base coat, and maybe that will help you break that block. Doing something fun like I did with this marble base, which is super simple practice and so much fun to do, so different from what I'm used to paint and what most people is used to do. So that kind of little fun things can help you, but in the end, the best thing you can do, at least in my opinion, is just step away from a day or two and sometimes when you have a big creative block and you want to do something and it's just not coming to you, sometimes stepping away from it, doing something different, like completely different, some playing some video games, listening to some music, playing some music if you play an instrument, which I don't. But if you do play an instrument, play a bit, go with your friends, go out, play video games, socialize a bit if you can, or just do other hobby, or read for a bit, and it will go back to you. Maybe in the less expected moment, it will just go back to you. So that's my advice. Chelsea, Jumpy Vampire Boy next video. Yeah, I really want to paint him. So yes, it's also super simple sculpt in terms of it's just very rare for GW because it doesn't have any detail. It's just a pure flesh, a bit of fur, a bit of armor, the hair, the sword. Nothing like baroque in it. It's such a beautiful sculpt. I really want to paint him. I know it's going to be super quick. Would you make a tutorial on cartoon style like cel shading? I've been thinking about my question about focusing too much on technical side, and I believe that deliberate remove of blending should help. No, I don't, because I don't like it. But if you want, I highly recommend. If you want to try a not blending, watch Richard Gray's videos. He doesn't blend. Everything he does is just like different colors and apply it with a lot of texture. So go and look at his videos and try to do that. Also, you may want to look into the work of painters like let me look at the name because I always forget. Yeah, so go on Instagram and look at the work of Hero Miniatures. Jero. I will just put the link. I have it here. So go and check the work of this guy. And he doesn't blend. It's just block colors. Looks stunning. And again, zero blending there. And he does such an amazing work with that technique. So go and check it out and try to replicate it. It's going to be fun. And you are going to learn a lot about contrast, about light, because light is much more important, and contrast is much more important than blending. Blending comes second. So if you want to become a better painter, you have to think about light, you have to think about contrast, and about texture, and then once you have those things mastered, you can just refine everything. But first, go and look for that. That's my advice. Michael H., which contrast paint is your favorite? Well, that's a very good question. I have a lot of paints that I love. It's going to be either Skeleton Horde, Griff, a Charger Grey, which is so good for armor and metal. Griff Charger Grey is fantastic. Skeleton Horde, Griff Charger Grey, Yanden Yellow, and the reds. I just put them together in the same category, but Flesh Series Red especially. So those four are my favorite colors. So Timor, let me get Skeleton Horde, Snakebite, Leather, Wildwood, Black Templar, Flesh Series Red. Some of them we agree, some of them, but again, I love them. All of those are fantastic, but for me, those are my favorites. Chelsea, a fantastic question, by the way. Do you sketch out bright down color schemes you are going to use, or just picture it or wing it? I picture it first. I think it first, and I'm very good with colors. I'm fun. That's like kind of my superpower. That I'm really good like picturing how something is going to look before I paint it, and I always get it right. So that's kind of what I do. So yeah, I think it in my head. Give it a couple of tries, try different things in my head, and then just go for the mini. Sometimes I get it wrong and I have to modify it. A good example is the orc video, which I just go and say I'm not happy with it, but I can fix it. But yeah, that's what I do. I just think it and then go for it. but I already know what I want to do before I get to the painting. So it's not like winging it. I know exactly what I'm going to do, and I know how more or less how it's going to look before I do it. So, Joe Simpson, hey, hello, Joss. What's up, fun? I'm entering my face painting competition LVO. Can you give me some special advice? Yes, I just said it. Practice light and contrast, and material properties. So that's the most important part, and first have that nailed down and then refine. Team Orange. If you want any more tips, if you want feedback on that mini, send me a message through Patreon, and we can chat about it. Sounds amazing. Team Orange, Richard Gray doesn't blend. My mind is blown. Go watch his videos. For the high competition stuff, he does more blending, more refining. But the latest thing you will see him done in social media hasn't have any blending at all. Go watch his videos. They are free on his YouTube channel. Highly recommend his YouTube channel. Everything he does is just having a look into the mind of a genius of our time. So go watch his videos. Any recommendation for highlight color on a base of warp lining? Depends on what you used that white lining over with, but I find it works very well with very yellowy greens. So you can probably do a mix of mood green and warpstone glow and warpstone glow. Is warpstone glow? No, yeah, and warpstone glow, and move into the yellowy tones. And because I don't really like to highlight greens with white, I think it looks awful, but that will be my go-to personally. It's funny how non-painters list their favorite colors as bright blues and turquoises, magentas, and oranges. Yeah. These are like brown, also gray. Yeah. So bright colors are very interesting and great, but you can't use them all. And I really found that grays, browns, those kind of stuff are really interesting. You can get some very interesting effects using them. So that's why they like them usually. But my favorite color is red and yellow. So yeah, maybe not the best. Probably for painting, I'm torn between red and yellow. But if I'm honest with myself, I have to say red. Even if I love painting yellow, but red is such a pleasure to paint. I'm jelly of your skill. Thank you. Could you please announce streams a bit earlier? I almost missed this one too. Sorry, team. I usually don't know when I'm going to make the streams. That's why I don't go on Twitch, because I literally don't know what I'm going to do like half an hour before I do it. But yeah, I will. I promise I will try to announce these streams with a bit more time. Sorry, team. I'm really glad that you didn't miss it, by the way. I don't want to miss the master, but I was napping. I thought you British people didn't take naps. I think that was more like a Spanish thing. Jay Ladbrook, hey, are you into Star Wars Legion at all? Any plans on painting anything from the game? No, I'm not. I love Star Wars, but for some reason, that game doesn't say anything to me. So no, I'm not going to paint anything from Star Wars. In fact, I highly doubt you will see me paint anything that's not Games Workshop here, because I just enjoy painting their minis. So sorry. Oh, yeah, Xavier. What's Krog's status? Well, I'm going to show you. It's in a box. It's going to stay in a box for a very long time. If you want to know why, go watch the stream from the beginning, because I just said it out loud. I'm really sorry, but that mini broke my will to paint for 3 days. and I don't want to paint him anymore. At least not for a very long time. I need to recuperate from that horrible experience. Fair enough, I don't play the game, but I do paint some of the minis. They are surprisingly high quality. Yes, they are very good quality minis. I just, for some reason, I just don't want to paint them. I something that I cannot explain is the same thing with a lot of stuff. I'm a massive nerd of everything, but for some reason I just don't want to paint it. I can't explain it. Oh, you finished yours. That's awesome. Well done. I just couldn't. I'm sorry, I couldn't. So again, it's 10 minutes till 11. If you want more questions, this is the time to do it, because after probably and around 11 I will be closing this down. So last round of questions, pop them out in the chat. That's awesome. More questions coming, because again, in about 10 minutes this will be over. It's maybe because I want to have dinner, which I haven't had yet. So that's the main question. That's the main reason. I would love to be here with you all night, but I want to have dinner. As a new painter in this world, I have not found a video where people properly explain how to prepare models for painting with separate parts. Can you make one? I actually have one for plastic minis. I think it was plastic minis. Yes, on my Patreon. I'm planning on doing like a full 101 compilation of different small videos about how to prepare minis from plastic, metal, and resin, and how to dilute paint, and that kind of basic stuff. But at the time, right now it's not finished. It's just I have a couple of short clips on my Patreon. It's the only content that is there, and it's only there until I can make the whole video. So it won't be there forever. It's not exclusive content in any way, but I need to put like more meat into that video, because otherwise it's just ridiculous. But I know Robbie, go and look for Vince Venturella channel, and go and look for Goobertown Hobbies. Both have like a hobby 101 type of videos, and they are both fantastic. So Goobertown Hobbies or Vince Venturella both have like a step-by-step everything you need to know from the very, very beginning. And I will make one with time. And it's not stupid. We've all been new, so it's a very comprehensive thing. Love the cool little cat boy. Let's see more of him. Yeah, he's been a true joy for the whole family. So we are very happy. He's a rescue cat, by the way. We used to have 2 cats, which were also rescue cats. Both died of old age, sadly. 3 years ago, more or less. And we've been we thought this was the right time to get a new cat, and we saw an announcement by one of the animal protection associations here of some baby cats found in a trash container somewhere, and we felt that we had to get one, because that's the right thing to do. It felt like the perfect time. We have been talking about getting a new cat for a while, and when we saw that, it's like this is the right time, so we just got one, and we're very happy. 1 second, please. Sorry again, I had to blow my nose again. And again, you don't want to see that on camera. Alex Bransgroove, hello Juan, what color would you recommend for base coat for a yellow model? Wraithbone. Wraithbone is fantastic because you can just use a Yanden yellow, which is the best way to paint yellow for me. Just do that. And if you just want to paint yellow, try to find a spray of Averland Sunset. That can also help you. or Wravebone is a fantastic alternative to paint yellow. I will leave some massive questions for the next time then. You can ask the questions now, there's still time, but if you want to leave more questions, feel free to do it. Or just pop them in the Patreon chat, Discord, so you can also do that. For my crew, I want to paint the leather as animal hides and the hunted strip as fantastic. super good idea. Well, can you point me in any tutorial? I can't recall. I'm sure Vince Venturella has one because he has a video for everything. So I'm sure he has a video for painting animal hides because Vince has a video for everything. Go look at his channels, and I'm sure it's going to be one there. But I just can't point out exactly what it was. But I'm sure he has one. Yeah, poor kids. Yeah. I just can't understand human beings sometimes. I mean, who could do that when you could just call and if you don't want them, which I can understand, just call an association and they will pick them up for you and they will look for homes for them. Just don't throw it in the trash. Don't do that. It's just horrible. I mean, like, don't do that. Thank you very much. Happy to help. Well, it's about 5 minutes to 11, and I think it's a good time to say goodbye to all of you. Thank you all for being here again. This is a monthly gathering, so I will see you in about a month. I usually do this earlier, but again, Croak has just postponed everything down the line. I just needed that a bit of a rest. But I will see you in about a month. And the next live stream will be the next review, which will be on the first week of July. I'm really looking forward to it. I don't know the day yet, and I promise I will put the announcement a bit earlier. I promise. So thank you all very much for being here. Thank you to all my lovely patrons for all the very much appreciated support. And again, I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.